guys, welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. If you're new here, my name is Megan and I'm a homeschool mom to 7 children. We've been homeschooling about 11 years and today's video is going to be all about homeschooling my high schooler. Now, I missed the opportunity to do videos about what curriculum we're using this year because it has been a little difficult for me to find my bearings getting back into making videos here on YouTube. So I've been here on YouTube for years doing homeschool, homemaking type content. However, the last year and a half or so, I have fallen off a little bit on making consistent videos. So I do enjoy it. It's just finding the margin in my life to be able to fit it in. It is something that I do enjoy talking about and I always hope is helpful to you guys. There's always lots of comments and questions on videos, even old past videos that are really hard for me to get back to answer. And so I just wanted to make this video about homeschooling my high schooler just to kind of let you know what we're doing for this year. So it is a little bit of a video about what curriculum we're using, but also sharing how this year is going so far. So my oldest son is a sophomore, so 10th grade. And last year was the first time that I had homeschooled a high schooler. And it is just different territory. When you're thinking about and putting together a schedule for the next, where the next 4 years are going to determine the path that your child takes, whether it be a college path, a technical path, just a life path, whatever that might look like for your family or your child. It is a lot different than just planning your typical elementary school year. So for me, it was kind of a big, oh my goodness, here we are. It feels like yesterday I was starting our homeschool journey with my oldest, and now here we are in high school, and this is his sophomore year. So last year was definitely a learning process. I will stick a link to a video I did kind of reflecting on the previous year if you're interested in that video. But let's get into talking about what we're doing for his 10th grade year, how it's going, and all of those things. So as an overall, how it's going this year is much smoother. I feel a lot more confident. So does he. Moving into those high school years, last year, it was kind of that big jump. It was a learning process of how much is too much and how much time they're really focusing on each subject, because it is very different. Especially if you have a child who is more than likely going to be a college-bound student, and that is how it is for my oldest son. This year, he is taking less credit hours, I can say that, and we are able to really focus in on how we want him to attain those credits, so I feel like we have a little better handle on that. So let's start with what we are using for his English credit. We are actually continuing this year. He is using Redefining School's high school courses. Last year, he did the one that was a year with C.S. Lewis. It was wonderful. We loved it so much. Miss Mindy is just phenomenal. Or I should say Dr. Mindy is phenomenal. So my oldest is continuing on with that, except this year he is doing her American literature course, and he is finishing up his first big paper, which is a persuasive essay, along with reading the narrative of Frederick Douglass and doing all the daily or the weekly readings in addition to that for the class and the live class and all of those things. And if you have any questions about Redefining School specifically, I do have several videos about it as well. It has been a huge blessing and game changer to our family, especially for my son, who is he really excels in language arts. And so it has really been wonderful for him. And it has been a way where that is an area where I feel confident in that being taken off my plate and taught by someone else, and me there as a supportive role in that. So we are really, really enjoying that. It is going really well so far. And so that's what he is doing for his English credit. So for math, he is continuing on with Mr. D Math online. He is doing geometry. He is doing the self-paced course, and it is going really well as well. He really, really liked using Mr. D Math last year. I'll also have a video about that as well, if that's one you're interested in. And he's continuing with that this year. So that has been a great fit for him. So for history and science, we're doing something a little different for my high schooler this year. It is different for all of us in the family. So he is actually doing U.S. history and biology through sort of a hybrid program. It is a 1 day a week independent study program. And so he goes that 1 day, and each class is an hour and a half long. He gets all the instruction, the labs for biology, all of the things during those classes, those 2 classes. So he spends 3 hours there getting those things, and then he has things that he has to complete throughout the week, different assignments, readings, all of that kind of stuff for those classes. And it has been a challenge for him, but I think a good kind of challenge. I think our kids should be encouraged to be challenged. And so this, I feel like, is really going to ready him for that next step when he does end up going to college, because like I mentioned, he is more than likely a college-bound kiddo. And so this has been a little bit of a learning process for him, but a good one. And he is doing well. However, it has just been very different for him to do it this way. So for biology, they are using the Guest Hollow biology curriculum. She has kind of adapted it and added some more to it as well. And also the U.S. history is actually written by the teacher that is teaching it. She actually has her doctorate and is a wonderful teacher for history. So he is enjoying it. It is different. It is new. Lots of like newness this year, I feel like. The next thing is a credit for computer science. However, we are actually holding off on doing that until the spring semester. I'm going to be using a variety of things for that, and most of them are free, which is actually really great. You can do a lot of that kind of stuff through your local library. Our library, for example, on their online resources has all kinds of stuff to learn different things with coding, with website design, with data processing type stuff. There are free typing programs, all of that kind of stuff. So we are going to be utilizing a variety of those things. Khan Academy has a lot with computer science as well. So I am going to be pulling a variety of things. I'm going to break it down and have him work on it in units. He will be working on typing continually through that. But then also on top of it, doing these little courses to learn how to do different like formatting with documents and presentations and basic coding, which he already knows a lot of, but go a little deeper with that through some of these programs that are offered, as well as having him go through a basic website design program. And so all of those things will build in a credit for him for computer science as well. For his Spanish 2 curriculum, the way that we are working that is we are using multiple facets. So he did Bob Jones Spanish 1 last year. And if you have ever used Bob Jones Spanish, or maybe if you haven't, maybe you've heard of how much depth there is to that curriculum. It is very, there's a lot to it. It is not an easy Spanish curriculum, which I think is actually a good thing, because I did want him to have a pretty well-rounded, which actually he picked that curriculum. So he wanted, a really thorough instruction in Spanish himself. But there is a tail end of that Spanish that he did not finish. And so for Spanish 2, what I am having him do is finish out the last bit of Spanish 1. And then he is also doing some Duolingo. And then he is also going to be utilizing a few different things in our local area. So in our local area, there is actually a church that offers Spanish lessons. And I think that that is such a good idea because it is more of a focus on the conversational Spanish, because he spent so much time this past year on like learning the grammar of Spanish and things like that. And while that's really important, I want him to take the next step and turn it conversational. So we're doing a few different things for that. So he will be utilizing those free Spanish classes through a local church in our area. But then also another well-seasoned homeschool mom that I am close with also gave me the idea of having him do a few different assignments throughout the year where, for example, we go to the library and they have flyers up in the library, one in Spanish, one in English. But for me to make a copy of both, but keep the English one for me and give him the Spanish one and have him translate what it says and match it up with the English kind of as the key to make sure that he translates it properly. And so we will be doing some of that. I will also have him watch some different things in Spanish as well as translate those, be able to at least tell me back what it was about, and all of that. So that is how I am sort of building in this next level for him to have a pretty well-rounded Spanish too. So that's what he's doing for that. For Bible, he is doing a couple of different things. I mentioned before that he does a discipleship program called Primal Path with my husband that is part of like the Intentional Fathers stuff. I've mentioned it before. It's easier for my husband to explain than me. I mean, I know what it is, but that's a whole nother explanation in and of itself. So he is doing that discipleship program with my husband. But then at our co-op, he is also going through To Every Nation, which is from Not Consumed Ministries. So he's doing missionary studies, and there is like some Bible study that goes along with that as well. So he is doing those two things for his Bible credit. The last credit that he is doing is another half credit for his piano. So he has taken piano lessons since he was around 7 years old, and that is something that he loves very dearly, and so he is doing that as well. So he will get another half credit for fine arts this year, and so that is my son's sophomore year. So anyway, yeah. But it is going well. He is doing very well with organizing his time this year. That, I think, is one of the biggest growth things for kids once they hit high school, especially for homeschoolers, is just organizing their time, finding what way works best for them to get all the things done. I'm really proud of him because he is doing things so independently, and I think that that is such an important strength to build, is that independence and taking ownership of their learning. And so, of course, I'm here anytime he needs me. I help facilitate everything, and I am helping him to map out his time, and that has been a big help for him. One of the things that I showed him that is a great way to kind of map out your time is to take a piece of paper, and because we've tried it a variety of ways, but he is a very visual person, much like I am. He is a person that likes to highlight or check things off, just like I am. And so I showed him that he can take a piece of paper each week and write each subject out, and then under each subject write what he needs to get done for that week under that subject, so that he sees everything right there in front of him. He is able then to prioritize things based on everything that he sees. He can see deadlines for papers or deadlines for certain assignments that need to be turned in for his little hybrid program, all that kind of stuff. And so he can work through it just by highlighting the tasks off as he completes them. And that has been a really helpful visual for him. And so now he is the one that is mapping all that out now. And so yeah, so it's a big growth thing. It's not just that they're doing the academic side of things, which, you know, is something we talk about often in the homeschool world, is really building in the character part of things. And that comes through learning about time management and taking, really taking responsibility for the different things that they have in front of them. Another thing is he will be taking advantage of a really cool opportunity in our area where he is going to be doing a kind of paid internship over our fall break. And he's really excited about that because not only is it an opportunity to do kind of a paid internship, but it's also getting his feet wet with an interest area for like what he might want to do in the future. And so I think that will be really great as well. He got his permit and is very slowly learning to drive. We have not actually spent a ton of time with learning to drive yet. He's done it a couple of times. And he is eager to do it. It's just, I don't know, it just hasn't been like a thing that we've spent a lot of time on so far, but he's got a while before he even turns 16 to be able to get his license. But he's also excited about that. That was a big milestone this summer right before school started, was when he went to go get his permit, and he was pretty proud. It was one of those surreal moments as a mom when your first kid gets their permit. It's like, oh my goodness, this is just wild. And especially, I mean, I have girls, I have boys, but it is just really wild when, you know, my son is now towering over me and talking to me in this man voice and all of the things. It's just, it's exciting, but it's like sad. It's bittersweet, I should say. It's not sad. It's bittersweet, but it is a very exciting time. And I'm just trying to soak in these last 2.5 years, really, that I have left before he kind of starts to transition into college and things like that. So it's an exciting time. But let me know, are you homeschooling a high schooler? Talk to me down in the comments. How is your year going? Maybe you've already homeschooled high schoolers, or maybe you have one that will be going into high school soon. And so you're watching this thinking about that. But anyway, talk to me down in the comments. I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you have a blessed day.